Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math.
I'm Sean Gannon, and this is Minute Math. And today we're going to learn about dividing polynomials. So if I was given this polynomial to divide, m squared minus 7m minus 11 divided by m minus 8. Okay? Well, I'm going to do some long division here, so I'm going to write my m minus 8 and have it go into my m squared minus 7m minus 11, just like normal long division. So then I'm going to ask myself, okay, what times m gives me m squared? Pretty simple, that's just m, right? M times m gives me m squared. So I'm going to put just one m right here above our place value where m is. M times m is m squared. And then m times minus 8 is a minus 8m. So then what we're going to do is we need to subtract this m squared minus 8m from our numerator, from the parts above it. Well, m squared is easy, they eliminate, right? M squared, that was the whole point, they should eliminate. And then I have minus 7m minus a negative 8m, which is the same thing as adding a positive. So, or adding, And so if we think about it, if we just read this minus sign here and make that positive, now we have minus 7m plus 8m, which is just m. Okay? So now we have m right there. We bring down the minus 11. Okay? And so now they're asking us, okay, well, we do the same thing. What times m gives me m? And first it's like, well, what is it? Well, it's just 1, right? A positive 1. If we take a positive 1 times m gives me m. So we have 1 times m, or 1 times m over there gives me this m here, and 1 times minus 8 is a minus 8. But remember, we're subtracting these. Okay, subtracting them. So m minus m is just 0, great, and 11 minus an 8, or negative 8, right? So that minus sign we distribute, we can put it in there like that. So we have a negative 11 plus 8 is a minus 3. Since we finished, that minus 3 is my remainder, and so my final answer is just m plus 1, what's written up there, minus that remainder over our m minus 8. And there we have it, our final answer. N squared minus n minus 29 divided by n minus 6. Okay? Well, what we're going to do is our long division here. So I'm going to take my n minus 6. I'm going to see how it can go into n squared minus n minus 29. Okay? I made it a little longer than I needed to. Okay? So I'm going to ask the question, what times n gives me n squared? So what times n gives me n squared? Pretty simple. That's just an n, right? N times n is n squared. So I'm going to put n over my n value right there, so keep it in line. N times n is n squared. Then n times a minus 6 is a minus 6n. Then we have to subtract these two. Okay, I'm already subtracting the whole parenthesis, right? The whole part. Alright, so when I subtract that, n squared minus n squared is just a 0. Great, eliminates that. Minus n minus a negative 6n is the same thing as adding a 6n, right? So minus n plus a positive 6n, right? We can distribute that. That comes out to be a 5n. Okay, and if you need to see it, you can distribute this minus sign across like that. Makes it easier. You can see minus n plus 6n is 5n. We bring down our minus 29, and we do it again. We say, okay, what times n gives me 5n? Well, that's just 5, right? So we have plus 5. 5 times n gives me 5n, so we have 5n here. And the 5 times a minus 6 multiplied to the other thing, the number there is a minus 30. And again, we need to subtract these two values. We subtract them. 5n minus 5n is just 0, great. But negative 29 minus a negative 30, if you need to distribute this minus sign to all parts, it's easier, okay? You can see how it was subtracted there. Minus 29 plus 30 is just a 1, positive 1. And that is our remainder. So when we write our final answer, we have n plus 5 plus our remainder over our what we're divided by here, n minus 6. And there we have it. We have our final answer of n plus 5 plus 1 over n minus 6. Hello, I'm Sean Gannon, and this is Minute Math, and today we're going to learn about dividing polynomials. So if I was given this polynomial to divide, n squared plus 10m plus 18 divided by n plus 5. Okay, so we're going to see, put n, our divisor, n plus 5, into our dividend, n squared plus 10n plus 18. So we have n plus 5 goes into, let's do long division here, n squared plus 10n plus 18. Okay, so we say, okay, how many times, or what times n gives me this n squared right here? And that's just n, right? So I'm going to put n over the n's place right there. So n times n gives me my n squared, and n times 5 is a 5n, multiplied to both parts. We then have to subtract these, okay? N squared minus n squared is just 0, great. And 10n minus a 5n is just a 5n. Let's bring down the 18, so we bring down the plus 18, and we do this again. What times n gives me 5n? Well, that's easy, that's just 5, right? So plus 5. 5 times n is 5n, and 5 times 5 is 25. We subtract the 2, right? Make sure, I usually like to put in parentheses there, show that I'm distributed to all parts here. 5n minus 5 is just 0, and it should eliminate there. Let's hold goal of it. And 18 minus 25 is just negative 7. And that's our remainder. So at this point, we're almost done. Pretty much done. We're just going to write our final answer. We have n plus 5 minus 7 over our divisor, which was n plus 5. There we have our final answer. K squared minus 7k plus 10 divided by k minus 1. Okay? Well, I'm going to write this out in long division form. I have my divisor, k minus 1, divided by my dividend, k squared minus 7k plus 10. Okay? So now I'm going to ask, what times k gives me k squared? It's simple, just a k. So we put a k there. K times k gives me k squared, so I'll write that down there. And then k times minus 1 is a minus k. Now we're going to subtract this from its numerator. Okay? Or from that numerator, what's above it? K squared minus k squared eliminates 0. Great, it should. Minus 7k minus a negative k, same thing as adding a positive k, is a minus 6k. Okay, so minus 7k minus a negative k plus a positive k is a minus 6k. We bring down the plus 10, and we do this over again. So we say, okay, what times k gives me minus 6k? That's a minus 6. Minus 6 times k is a minus 6k. Great. Minus 6 times a minus 1 is a positive 6. And now we're going to subtract them again. Okay, so we subtract everything. Minus 6k minus a negative 6k eliminates it, right? Gets it to 0. And then 10 minus a positive 6 now is just a positive 4. That is our remainder. We have a positive 4 as our remainder here. And so our final answer, we write here the k minus 6 plus positive 4. So plus 4, our remainder, over our divisor, which was k minus 1. And that is our final answer. N squared minus 3n minus 21 divided by n minus 7. Okay? So if I want to divide this, all right, I'm going to use my long division. I'm going to take my n minus 7 here, have it go into my n squared minus 3n minus 21. Okay, so now we're going to say, okay, what times n gives me n squared? Simple, that's just an n. So n right there, n times n gives me n squared. And I put n in a place value over my 3n, or minus 3n. And n minus, times a minus 7 is a minus 7m. And now we're going to subtract these two, put parentheses around it. Make sure we subtract both parts. N squared minus n squared, which is 0, great. But minus 3n minus a negative 7n, sometimes I like to distribute this minus out, so like this, minus and negative plus, makes it easier to see. So now we're adding it. We have a minus n squared, great, right there, would eliminate. Minus 3n plus 7n is just a 4n. positive 4n. And then I bring down the minus 21, and we do this again. What times n gives me 4n? That's a positive 4. So we add a 4 here. 4 times n is 4n. And 4 times minus 7 is a minus, well, it's minus 28. Okay? But now we need to subtract the 2. Okay? Subtract the 2 there. Well, 4n minus 4n is great 0. And then negative 21 minus a negative 20 is like adding a positive 28. And this time I won't distribute the minus sign across. If you need to practice, try it, go for it and see it. But we have a positive 7 there. Okay? So that positive 7 is our remainder. So now when I write my final answer, I have n plus 4 plus 7, our remainder, over, that's a big bar for the 7, over n minus 7. Won't that make that one as big? That just doesn't look right. Oh, there we go. Good enough. All right? And that is our final answer. A squared minus 28, parentheses here, divided by a minus 5. So when I divide this out, I'm going to do my long division. So I'm going to write my a minus 5, my divisor here, a minus 5, goes into, and when I write this out, I'm going to leave a place value there. We'll kind of some space here for my a value that doesn't exist. So we're going to have a squared, and we're going to do plus, let's go 0 times a. Okay, 0 times a. 0 times a is really 0, it's not really there, but it helps us create a place value for our long division. So I recommend that, okay? So now they're going to ask us a question, or what we have to ask ourselves is, what times a gives me a squared? Easy, that's a. But now I have a place value for it. A. Again, that's 0 times a. A times a is a squared, and a times minus 5 is a minus 5a. Okay? We need to subtract the 2. A squared minus a squared is just 0, but 0, basically 0a, but 0. 0 minus a negative 5a plus a positive 5a, and we have positive 5a down there. Now we bring down the minus 28, and then we can do it again. What times a gives me 5a? So that's a 5 plus 5. 5 times a is 5a, and 5 times a minus 5 is a minus 25. That's a 28, or 5 here. Okay, now we subtract them. 5a minus 5a is 0. Minus 28 minus a negative 28 is adding, 25 is the same thing as adding a positive 25, and that's a minus 3, or negative 3. Okay, and that's a remainder. So our final answer here is just that a plus 5, we wrote up there, minus 3 remainder over our divisor, a minus 5. And there we have our final answer. R squared plus 14r plus 38 divided by r plus 8. Okay. Well, I want to set this up with long division, so I have my r plus 8 here, and that goes into my r squared plus 14r plus 38. Okay? So now I have to ask the question, what times r gives me 14r? Or so, gives me r squared, I'm sorry, gives me r squared. That's just r, pretty simple. R times r is r squared. So r times r squared, and multiply r times 8 is plus 8r. So now we need to subtract this from what's above it. Okay, make sure you put parentheses there, subtract everything. R squared minus r squared is just 0. Great, that's what should happen. And 14 minus 8r, remember 14r, sorry, minus 8r, comes out to be a positive 6r. We bring down the 38. We add it right there. So now we ask, okay, what times r? What times r? So what times r gives me 6r, okay? Well, that's just going to be a 6, right? So we have a plus 6 there. So 6 times r is 6r. And 6 times 8 is 48. So now we need to subtract the 2. There are parentheses right there. Subtract them, right? So 6r minus 6r is just 0. And 38 minus 48 is a minus 10, okay? Minus 10 is our remainder. So we write our final answer. We write that r plus 6 is up there, minus 10, our remainder, over r plus 8, our divisor. And that is our final answer. X squared plus 5x plus 3 divided by, second parenthesis, x plus 6. All right. Well, I'm going to apply my long division here, so I'm going to write x plus 6, my divisor. And I'm going to have it go into my dividend, x squared plus 5x plus 3. So now I'm going to ask myself here, what times x gives me x squared? Pretty simple. That's just x. Put x right there above the 5x. X times x is x squared. Great. And x times 6 is 6x. We're now going to subtract the 2 straight down. X squared minus x squared is 0. Great. 5x minus, don't forget the minus sign, minus 6x is a minus x. Then we bring down the 3, the plus 3. Okay? So now we have a minus x plus 3. So we asked ourselves, what times x gives me a minus x? And that's just minus 1, or negative 1, right? Negative 1 times x is a negative x. Negative 1 times 6 is a negative 6. But again, I'm subtracting this, so we make sure we distribute the subtraction sign when we simplify this. Minus x minus of negative x is a 0, right? Adding a positive x is 0. Good, eliminates, oops, don't need that there. And then 3 minus a negative 6 is the same thing as adding a positive 6, and that's a positive 9. Okay, so we have a remainder of 9 right there. So our remainder is 9. So our final answer is just x minus 1, we wrote up there, plus 9, our remainder, over our divisor, x plus 6. And that is our final answer. 2x squared minus 17x minus 38. And we're going to divide that by 2x plus 3. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite this to have my divisor, 2x plus 3, go into, with long division, my dividend, 2x squared minus 17x minus 38. Okay? Well, we have to ask ourselves a question. What times 2x gives me 2x squared? And that's pretty simple. That's just an x. So x is right here. X times 2x is 2x squared. And x times 3 is just 3x. So we have plus 3x. So now we need to subtract the 2. All right? Subtract the whole thing. 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. Great. And negative 17x minus a 3x is a negative 20x. And now I'm going to bring down the minus 38. Okay? I said I didn't bring that over, but it's okay. Minus 38. So now we say, okay, ask ourselves the same question. What times 2x is a negative 20x? And this is negative 10. So negative 10 times 2x is a negative 20x. And negative 10 times 3 is a negative 30. Now I'm going to subtract them all. Make sure I put parentheses around it. I'm going to subtract the top part by the bottom part and distribute that minus sign. So negative 20x minus a negative 20x is adding a positive 20x, which is just 0. Good, it should eliminate. Negative 38 minus a negative 30 is adding a positive 30, which is just a negative 8. Now I have my remainder right there. So my final answer is x minus 10, written up top, minus 8, my remainder, over my divisor, 2x plus 3. And there we go. 42x squared minus 33 divided by 7x plus 7. Okay? Well, I'm going to rewrite this in a long division form. So I have my divisor, 7x plus 7 here, and that goes into my dividend. Now my dividend, what I'm going to do this time, instead of putting a 0 in front of my x, I'm going to just give a space there. So I have 42x squared, space for the plus of the x values, and then minus 33 over here. Okay? So kind of space it out. So you'll see in a second why that's important. And sometimes I'll write a plus 0x there, because 0 times x, 0 shows that there's an x value technically there. But you want to show all parts, okay? And it's up to you how you want to do it. Some people do a plus 0x, some don't, depends on the problem. But anyway, so what times 7x gives me 42x squared? And that's just a 6x. So I'm going to put that 6x where the x value would be. So 6x times 7x is a 42x squared. And then 6x times 7 is a 42x. So we have plus 42x. We subtract them right here. And then remember there's that 0 there. And that 0, okay, that space value there is 0x. And if you want to write it, let's go right here. It makes it a little easier actually. So plus 0x right there. So we subtract them. So we have 42x squared minus 42x squared. Eliminates, you get 0. And then 0 minus 42x is a negative 42x. So I changed my mind. 0x should go right there. It does look nicer, I think, in these videos. But anyway, minus 33 comes down. So now I ask the question, okay, what times 7x gives me a negative 42x? And that's just a minus 6. So minus 6 times 7x is a negative 42x. Minus 6 times 7 is just a minus 42. But now I need to subtract the two. Okay, subtract them. Then eliminates, right? Negative 42x minus a negative 42x is adding a positive, 0. Negative 33 minus a negative 42 is adding a positive 42, and that comes out to be a positive 9. So our remainder is 9. So we're pretty much done here. We write my 6x minus 6, 6x minus 6, plus my remainder 9 over my divisor, which is 7x plus 7. And that is our final answer. X squared minus 74 divided by x minus 8. Okay? Well, if I was given that, what I want to do is I'm going to convert it to long division. So I have my divisor, my x minus 8 here, and my dividend, x squared, and what I'm going to do is put a place value for, since there's no x value, I'm trying to get each one. So I'm going to plus 0 times x minus 74. So 0 times x is just 0, and it's the same thing, it doesn't really exist there, but it gives us a place value for us to do our long division. So now I ask the question, what times x gives me x squared? Pretty simple, that's just x, right? So we just have an x here, x. So x times x is x squared, and x times a minus 8 is a minus 8x, okay? Pretty simple, so now I have to subtract the two, so I put parentheses around it, I'll subtract it. X squared minus x squared, which is 0, cancels out. But 0 minus a negative, minus a negative 8x is a positive 8x. Okay? So now we keep going. We bring down the minus 74. And we do it again. What times x gives me 8x? And that's a positive 8. A positive 8 right there. 8 times x is 8x. And 8 times minus 8 is minus 64. Okay, we subtract the two. Okay, 8x minus 8x, which is 0, great. And negative 64 minus a negative, or negative 74 minus a negative 64 is a positive, or minus 10, a negative 10, sorry. So negative 64 minus a negative 64 is like adding a positive 64, makes it a minus 10. There's my remainder, so I'm pretty much done here. I have my x plus 8 minus 10, my remainder, so that's the x plus 8 where it came from. Remainder over our divisor, x minus 8. There we go, our final answer. 2p squared plus 7p minus 39 divided by 2p minus 7. Okay? Well, what I'm going to do is I have my divisor, my dividend. I'll put, right, this is long division, so I have 2p minus 7, my divisor, into my dividend, 2p squared plus 7p minus 39. And now I'm going to ask myself a question here, saying, what times 2p gives me 2p squared? That's just p, right? P times 2p is that 2p squared. So I put the p and the place value where the p is. P times 2p is 2p squared. As multiplied to the minus 7, p times minus 7 is a minus 7p. We subtract the two. Okay, we subtract the 2 right there, and so we have 2p squared minus 2p squared, which is 0, and then 7p minus a negative 7p is like adding a positive 7p, gives us our 14p, positive 14p. We then bring down the minus 39, and we're going to do this again. What times 2p gives me 14p, and that's just a positive 7. We have a positive 7 there. 7 times 2p is a 14p. 7 times a minus 7 is a minus 49. And what we need to do now is we're going to subtract the top from the bottom. So 14p minus 14p is 0. And minus 39 minus a negative 49 is like adding a positive 49 is a positive 10. And that's my remainder. Okay, so we have my remainder right there. So our final answer is just p plus 7 plus my remainder, 10, over my divisor, which is 2p minus 7. And that is our final answer. N to the third plus 7n squared plus 14n plus 3 divided by n plus 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this in long division form. Take my divisor, my n plus 2, and that's going to go into my dividend, n to the third plus 7n squared plus 14n plus 3. Okay? So I'm going to ask myself the question, what times n squared, what times n gives me n to the third power? And that is just n squared here. So I put n squared over the n squared values, or place value there. N squared times n is n to the third, and n squared times 2 is a 2n squared. I'm going to subtract the 2 right here. Okay? So n to the third minus n to the third is 0. Great. But 7n squared minus 2n squared is just a 5n squared. Now I'm going to bring down the 14n. I'm going to do this again. Okay? What times n gives me 5n squared? Well, that's just a 5n. So we have a plus a 5n right here. Positive 5n. 5n times n is just 5n squared. And 5n times 2 is a 10n. We subtract the 2. 5n squared minus 5n squared eliminates, which is 0, and it should. And 14n minus 10n is just a 4n. Okay? Bring down the 3. So now we have our 4n plus 3 here. We have to ask the question, what times n gives me 4n? And that's just a 4. So we add a positive 4. 4 times n is 4n. And 4 times 2 is 8. We have to subtract the 2 here. 4n minus 4n is just 0. And 3 minus an 8 is a minus 5. And now we're kind of done. That's our remainder, a minus 5 down here. And so my final answer is that n squared plus 5n plus 4 minus our remainder 5 over our divisor, which is n plus 2. And there we have it. P to the third minus 10p squared plus 20p plus 26 divided by p minus 5. Okay? Well, I'm going to write this in long division form, so I'm going to take my p minus 5 here, p minus 5, and have it go into my, my divisor, my dividend, p to the third minus 10p squared plus 20p plus 26. Okay? So now I'm going to ask the question, what times p gives me p to the third? And that is just p squared. So p squared right there. P squared times p is p to the third. And p squared times a minus 5 is a minus 5p squared. I'm going to subtract the 2. Top and the bottom there. Boom, boom. P to the third minus p to the third, which is 0. And always should cancel out. Minus 10p squared minus a negative 5p squared is like plus a positive 5p squared. It's just a minus 5p squared. Let's bring down the plus 20p right there. Okay? And ask the same question again. What times p gives me a minus 5p squared? And that's a minus 5p. Or minus a 5p, yeah. Minus 5p. Minus 5p times p is a minus 5p squared. And minus 5p times minus 5 is a positive 25p. Let's subtract the 2, top from the bottom here. Minus 5p squared minus a negative 5p squared is like, I think, a positive 5p squared. Eliminate 0. 20p minus 25p is just a minus 5p. Let's bring down the 26. We're going to ask the same question again. What times p gives me minus 5p? And this one here is just a minus 5. Minus 5 times p is a minus 5p. And minus 5 times minus 5 is a plus 25. We subtract the 2, top and the bottom. Minus 5p's cancel. Minus 5p minus minus 5p, which is the same as having a positive 5p, 0. 26 minus 25 is just 1. Okay, so our remainder is just 1 here. And so our final answer is just that p squared minus 5p minus 5, which is written right up there, plus 1, my remainder over my divisor, which is p minus 5. That is our final answer. V to the third minus 2v squared minus 14b minus 5 divided by v plus 3. Okay? Well, I need to make this, convert this to long division. My divisor, v plus 3, goes into my dividend, v to the third minus 2v squared minus 14v minus 5. Okay? So now I ask myself the question, what times v gives me v to the third power? That's v squared. So v squared is better v. Let's do this. Better v's. Well, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. So we have v squared here. V squared times v is v to the third power. V squared times 3 is plus 3v squared. We subtract the 2. Okay? V to the third minus v to the third is 0. Should eliminate. That's great. Minus 2v squared minus a 3v squared is minus 5v squared. Okay? So now I ask the question again. What times v gives me a minus 5v squared? And that's a minus 5v. Multiply it out. Minus 5v. Oh, sorry, I forgot to write down the minus 14v there. Don't forget that step. Minus 5v times v is minus 5v squared. Minus 5v times 3 is a minus 15v. We subtract the 2. Okay. Minus 5v squared minus 5v squared is like adding a positive. They eliminate, which they should. Minus 14v minus negative 15v is like adding a positive 15v. And it's just a positive 1v. Okay. We bring down the minus 5. So let's ask the question again. What times v is v? And that's just 1. Pretty simple. Good old 1. 1. 1 times v is v. 1 times 3 is a positive 3. We subtract the 2. V minus v is just 0. Fantastic. But minus 5 minus 3 is just a minus 8. So that is our remainder, that minus 8. So my final answer here is v squared minus 5v plus 1 minus 8 over my remainder, which is v plus 3. And that is the final answer. X to the third minus 13x squared plus 40x plus 18 divided by x minus 7. Okay. Well, I want to rewrite this to be long division. So I take my x minus 7. I would go into that's my divisor, my dividend, x to the third minus 13x squared plus 40x plus 18. Okay. So now I'm going to ask the question, what times x gives me x to the third? Simple. That's just x squared. So I put x squared over the x squared value here. Keep it all in line. X squared times x is x to the third. And then multiply x squared by the minus 7 again, or here, and have minus 7x squared. Now we're going to subtract the 2. Top from the bottom, make sure the subtraction, the whole parentheses around it. X to the third minus x to the third is just 0. Should cancel out. Fantastic. And minus 13x squared minus a negative 7x squared, is like adding a positive 7x squared, comes out to be a negative 6x squared. Let's bring down 40x. Okay, 40x there. And we ask the same question. What times x gives me a negative x squared? And that's a minus 6x. Okay? So we ask the question, okay, we're going to multiply. Minus 6x times x gives me a minus 6x squared, which it should. And the minus 6x times a minus 7 comes out to be a minus, or a positive, right? A negative times a negative is a positive, 42x. We subtract them both, the whole thing with parentheses, minus 6x squared minus a negative 6x squared. It's like adding a positive, becomes 0. Fantastic. Let's make that minus sound a little bigger. 40x minus 42x is just a negative 2x. Let's bring down the 18. And let's do this again. What times x is a negative 2x? Well, that's just a negative 2. Okay, so a minus 2. Minus 2 times x is a minus 2x. Right there. Minus 2 times 7 is a positive 4. Positive 14, sorry, and negative times a negative is a positive. We subtract the 2 right there. Minus 2x minus a negative 2x is like adding a positive 2x. 0. 18 minus 14 is just a positive 4. That is my remainder, that positive 4 right there. And so my final answer, I just rewrite what's up here. My x squared minus 6x minus 2 plus my remainder, which is 4, over my divisor, which is x minus 7. And that is the final answer. K to the third minus 30k minus 18 minus a 4k squared divided by 3 plus k. Well, what I'm going to do here, okay, when I divide this, okay, I'm going to write long division, but I'm going to, when I do it, I'm going to rearrange it, have my highest degrees always written first. It makes it so much easier, trust me. So when I write my divisor, my 3 plus k, I'm going to rewrite it here as k plus 3. And since it's within the parenthesis, I can rearrange it, okay, I'm allowed to rearrange that. And the same thing here with my dividend. Within the parenthesis, I'm going to rearrange it, highest degree first, k to the third. Then I have my minus 4k squared, it's my next highest degree. Then I'm subtract a 30k, and then a minus 18, okay? So I want to go make sure it's rearrange this for my highest degree first, put that minus 4k basically before the minus 30k, and after the k to the third power, okay? So now I have this long division. Now I can solve that. I ask the question, what times k gives me k to the third? And that's just k squared. Pretty simple. K squared times k is k to the third, and k squared times 3 is a plus 3k squared. I'm going to subtract the 2 right there. K to the third minus k to the third is just 0. Fantastic, great. Minus 4k squared minus a 3k squared is a minus 7k squared. I'm going to bring down the minus 30k now, and that's the same question again. What times k gives me a minus 7k squared? And that's a minus 7k. So minus 7k right there. Minus 7k times k is a minus 7k squared. Minus 7k times 3 is a minus 21k. We subtract the 2, okay, with our parenthesis. Minus 7k squared minus a negative 7k squared. It's like adding a positive. They should eliminate. Fantastic, 0. And minus 30k minus a negative 21k is like adding a positive 21k. And that's a minus 9k right there. I'm going to bring down now the minus 18. And again, ask the same question. What times k gives me a minus 9k? And that's a minus 9. Okay? Minus 9 times k is minus 9k. And minus 9 times 3, minus 9 times 3 is a minus 27. Subtract the 2, top and bottom. Minus 9k minus a negative 9k is just 0, cancels out. Right, it's like adding a positive. And minus 18 minus a negative 27, it's like adding a positive 27, is just a positive 9. Okay, that positive 9 is my remainder right here. So my final answer is that k squared minus 7k minus 9, that's written up there, plus my remainder, this 9, over my divisor, which is k plus 3. And that is my final answer. Minus 5. Weird looking 5, 5k squared. Sounds like Frankenstein. Big head there. Anyway. Plus k to the third, plus 8k, plus 4, divided by minus 1 plus k. It's a weird plus sign. What the heck am I doing? All right. So I have my dividend and my divisor. Now what I notice is that they're not in order in the sense of highest degree first. So when I rewrite this in my long division, my divisor, I'm going to put k plus a negative 1 first. So we have k plus a negative 1, and you do k minus 1, but let's leave it as plus a negative 1. Show that you can also do it that way. Now this one I'm going to rearrange highest degree first. Highest degree is k to the third. Then let's start working down a minus 5k squared. Then we have a plus 8k, and then a plus 4. Okay? So all I did was rearrange within each parenthesis, highest degree first, and move our way down. So now I'm going to ask the question, what times k gives me k to the third? And that's just simple k squared. So k squared times k is k to the third. And then k squared times a negative 1 is a negative k squared. So I can subtract the 2. Okay? Subtract the 2 there. And then you can make it plus a negative k squared, but it doesn't matter. Subtract the 2 here. K to the third minus k to the third eliminates great. Negative 5k squared minus a negative k squared. It's just like adding a positive k squared. It's a minus 4k squared. Let's bring down the 8k. Let's do it again. What times k gives me a minus 4k squared? And that's a minus 4k. Okay? Minus 4k. Minus 4k times k. That's a minus 4k squared. And minus 4k times the negative 1 is like adding it's like a positive. So we have positive there, and negative times the negative is positive. So positive 4k. We're going to subtract the 2. It should eliminate the minus 4k squared, which it do, right? Minus 4k squared minus a negative 4k squared is like adding a positive. Then, so that's a 0, and then 8k minus 4k is just a positive 4k. Let's bring down the 4 here. Okay, my last part here. What times k gives me 4k? Pretty simple, just a positive 4. 4 times k is 4k. 4 times the negative 1 is a minus 4. Okay, so we subtract the 2. 4k minus 4k is just 0, and then 4 minus a negative 4 is like adding a positive 4, which is an 8. So now I have a remainder of 8. Okay, so I'm pretty much done. I'm going to write what's up here, my k squared, minus 4k plus 4 plus my remainder 8 over my divisor. Okay, and divisor, I'm going to rewrite here instead of plus and negative 1, just be k minus 1. Does look nicer for a final answer. K minus 1, and that is the final answer. X to the third plus 5x squared minus 32x. Don't forget the 2 there. It's minus 32x, not 3x, minus 32x. Minus 7 divided by x minus 4. So now I have my dividend and my divisor. I'll rewrite that into long division. So I'm going to take my x minus 4 right here. I'm going to go into my dividend, which is x to the third plus 5x squared minus 32x minus 7. Let's make that long division part longer. Okay. So now I'm going to ask the question to myself, what times x gives me x to the third? That's x squared. So I have x squared times x is x to the third. X squared times a minus 4 is a minus 4x squared. Okay, subtract the 2, top from the bottom. X to the third minus x to the third, which is 0, great. So 5x squared minus a negative 4x squared is like adding a positive 4x squared, and that's just a 9x squared. I'm going to bring down the minus 32x. Same question again. What times x gives me a 9x squared? And that's just a 9x. So we have plus a 9x right there. 9x times x is a 9x squared. And 9x times a minus 4 is a minus 36x. Subtract the 2 right there. 9x squared minus 9x squared is a 0. Fantastic. But negative 32x minus a negative 36 is like adding a positive 36x, which comes out to be a positive 4x. Bring down the minus 7. What times x gives me 4x? And that's just a 4, so we add a 4 here. 4 times x is 4x. So we have 4 times minus 4 is a minus 16. We subtract the 2. 4x minus 4x is just 0, great. And negative 7 minus the negative 16 is like adding a positive 16, which comes out to be a positive 9. So a positive 9 right there, right? Negative 7 plus a positive 16. Positive 9. Positive 9 is my remainder, and so my final answer is what's written up here, my x squared plus 9x plus 4 plus 9 over my 9 being my remainder over my divisor, which is x minus 4. And that is my final answer. 50k to the third plus 10k squared minus 35k minus 7 divided by 5k minus 4. Okay? Well, I'm going to rewrite this to be long division. So I take my divisor, 5k minus 4, and that's going to go into my dividend, 50k to the third plus 10k squared minus 35k minus 7. Okay? So now I'm going to ask the question, what times 5k gives me 50k to the third? And that's just a 10k squared. So 10k squared, ironically, it's the same thing right there. 10k squared. 10k squared, ironically, it's the same thing there, right? 10k squared times 5k is a 50k to the third. And then 10k squared times a minus 4 is a minus 40k squared. Don't let the larger numbers fool you. It's the same process as every other time. We subtract the top from the bottom. Minus 50k to the third minus 50k to the third is just 0. And then 10k squared minus a negative 40k squared is just like adding a positive 40k squared, which is a 50k squared. And let's bring down the minus 35k. Okay, same thing again. What times 5k gives me 50k squared, and that's just 10k. So 10k right there. 10k times 5k is 50k squared, which it should be, right? One of the same, that was the whole goal of it, right? 10k times a minus 4k is a minus 40k. We subtract the two, the top and the bottom. 50k squared minus 50k squared, just as 0. Perfect, that's what we wanted. And minus 35k minus a negative 40k is like adding a positive 40k, and just a positive 5k. We bring down the minus 7. Same thing. What times 5k is 5k? And that one's just 1. So 1. 1 times 5k is 5k. And 1 times minus 4 is minus 4. We subtract the top and the bottom here. 5k minus 5k is just 0, great. And negative 7 minus the negative 4 is like a positive 4 is a minus 3. Okay? That minus 3 is my remainder. And so my final answer here is just what's written up top here. 10k squared plus 10k plus 1 minus my remainder 3 over my divisor 5k minus 4. And that is my final answer. Be careful, that's a separate that a little there. It's a minus sign. Okay, there we go.
Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math. Minute Math. When you need help, you use Minute Math. MinuteMathTutor.com.